You have a distinctive smell. Whether you know it or not, every one of us have some kind of aroma. And it's interesting to me that sometimes that aroma is very attracting, and then at other times it sort of pushes people away. Somewhere down the line, I lost most of my sense of smell, and so those aromas don't come through quite like they used to. But the reality is, even in a spiritual sense, we have an aroma. Over in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, Paul is describing for us the difficulties and the troubles that he's been going through. And in that time of distress and despair, he said he had gone down to Troas, and God had opened a door for him to be able to preach the gospel there. But he was discouraged and downtrodden in everything. He couldn't find Titus, and in the discouragement, he just left and went on down to Troas. Now, we get an entirely different picture of that whole event by reading in Acts 16. But I want you to focus on this particular instance for a minute. He moves from that to say, God always leads us in triumph. And he pictures then a triumphal march. He pictures that Roman army leading in triumph their enemy back into the cities of Rome. And as they are coming in that victory march, they have the prisoners tied up and are dragging them along the way. And as they do, people are scattering flowers, and there's an aroma of victory for those that are the soldiers leading that triumphal march. But at the same time, those prisoners are being led, and there's a distinctive aroma there as well. And it's not the aroma of victory, but the aroma of death. And so Paul says, we have that aroma, that smell that he says, to some is the aroma of life, but to others it's the aroma of death. It sort of depends on how someone reacts to it. Have you noticed? There are some people who love some smells, but to others those same smells are distracting and almost just devastating to people. There is a smell, I don't understand even what it is, but there's a smell in some hospitals at times that if I ever get that aroma, whatever it is, then I'm about to pass out. I'm about to faint, and have done so at different times in the hospitals, and it's quite a challenging thing. Usually when I get that smell, I know now that I'd better get set down somewhere very quickly, or I'm about to hit the floor in not a good way. But that aroma has an effect. In reality, your spiritual aroma has a greater effect than that. I hope it's not one that causes people to pass out that might smell, but they are either attracted to God because of what they see and smell in you, or they're distracted from it. They're pushed away. How do you have a great smell? Spiritually, Paul describes that aroma of life as one that is drawing others because of the relationship with God, because of one standing for the things that are right and living by the things that are taught in the Word of God. Our aroma is always distracting when we are teaching one way and living another. Now, I know that none of us perfectly live up to what we teach in the good news of Jesus, but we must be trying. It must be our effort to stay with that message of God and to live it out every day. If I'm going to teach people about forgiveness, I must be forgiving. And if I'm going to teach people about love, I must be loving. And if I'm going to teach people about grace, I must extend a lot of grace, both to myself and to others. What we extend, what we live out, determines our smell. And that smell may determine whether someone is drawn to God or pushed away. I want to challenge you and encourage you to check out your aroma. Make sure it's one that is drawing others not to you but to God, rather than pushing them away because of what they smell in you.